Okay, hi. I wanted to make a banjo ukulele, but obviously I wanted to make it like most people, out of a tin can and whatever I found lying around. The big problem seems to be, or one of the big problems seems to be, the tuning head. Most people seem to either make it out of a nut or a bolt, or little wooden pegs they turn and jam in the handle, basically. And from what I've read, the problem with that is it doesn't hold its tune very long. Another solution seems to be just to buy the machine heads, and you spend the effort and time making the thing out of scrap and then nip down to the music shop or sign on to eBay and get the cheapest machine heads you can afford. That didn't seem very good either, so what I wanted to do was make some machine heads that would really cost very little, be easily made by anybody else, and be relatively simple. So I did a bit of research, particularly on headless guitars, and there's a couple of good guys out there making stuff that's really truly astonishing, and having a look at some of their bits and pieces and having a bit of a think about it, this is essentially what I came up with. Now, I got some of these. Don't know how well you can see that. It's a 4mm wing nut. Good thing about this really is these little projections are integral to the nut and can really be used as a way of catching the string on this wing, and if you can get some way of tightening that up and down, you'll get tension on the string, and obviously because it's a screw thread it's going to pretty much hold and help you tune it. Looking again at the sites and having a dig around, what I found I had was one of these. This is a cooling fin from I think it's an old television actually, and these little channels here, you can see these little channels are a lovely size for what I was thinking of. So what I did was essentially took this nut and flattened these edges in a vise with a flat file down to get me that. You can see that's basically just a wing nut with a flattened edge. The good thing about that is it fits rather neatly into that channel, as you can see. So the next thing to do was to remove one of these. So you just saw it off, file it flat, and that's what you end up with, something like that. The next thing is, hold this a bit closer so you can see it. Yeah, just there. What I've done is taken a needle file and gone down there with the needle file, and remember to file around there, as essentially if you just file it flat you're going to file a knife blade and it'll saw your strings in half. So needle filed it down there and then finished off the edges just by doing that. Now what I've got is a handy little hook that will slide quite nicely, so see if you can see that, in there. See that? Sliding up and down in there. There we go. So the next thing, this is an M4 70mm panhead bolt. As nicely in my M4 wing nut, and gives me that. Now if I put that into there, okay, into there like that, and we could put something here to catch the head, then as I turn it, and I don't know if you can really see that very well, but as I turn it, that nut has been drawn that direction, so obviously if I hook the string out this way, what I'm going to get is a machine made tuning head. Okay. So when I finished that, what I ended up with was that. Okay, and as you can see, we've got this nice little notch here, but there's this big lump here that I don't particularly like. So I took it out to the vise with the file, took it down like that, and there's the comparison for you. So this, now when we put it into our slide, it's going to be that way up. That'll rest on the bottom of the slide and we'll get the string much nearer to the nut where it wants to be. I also didn't like the size of these pan heads. They're a bit large, and when you remember the channels we're going to put them in are only about that close. If we have 4 of these in a row to string out a ukulele, chances are those heads are going to hit, and that'll cause a real problem. So what I did was take it down a bit, and there you can see the difference in the head size. Easy enough to do, just chuck it in a drill, tape your drill up, set it going, put a file on there and hold it till it's the right size. I took about 30,000th off of mine, just whatever fits really. Hi, so dealing with this. What I did was take 4 of these channels, saw them out, but I sawed them out to this next channel. Well, that does give me little wings on it. So when I sawed that out, what I got was this. So here we have our 4 guide channels, and the little wings here let me drill some holes in, and that's how we're going to fix the plate when it comes to fixing it, and it gives me a guide. Now, handily enough, when I sawed that, what I was left with was this bit here. So I cut a section of that out, drilled 4 4mm holes in it, and that gave me that. Okay, just a little bit of a plate of aluminium, 4 holes in it, and the right depth for the channels, and that's going to fix on to here like that, and that forms my channel and back plate. So at this stage what you should have is your shaped channels. They're 50mm long, and you remember that the actual bolts themselves, there we go, bolts themselves are 70mm long. That means that they're going to stick out. That's kind of important, because in order to string this thing, you're going to have to unscrew it so the hook sticks out. You can hook your string on, screw it back down till it's in the channel. So you need that extra few millimeters to be able to do that, obviously. So that's 50mm long. That is sawn off to fit across there like that. Then it was marked out to the midpoint of the channels, and then drilled with a 4mm hole, 4mm drill to make those 4 holes in the back panel. So again, you've got your channel guide, your back plate, and you should have made 4 of these, which are the actual tuning draw pegs. Okay, so I've put it all together, and that's it. The back plate is held on with a bit of super glue. That's all it really needs. Most of the force is in that direction, nothing acting down here really, and of course the strings are going to pull that tight in that direction. So you don't strictly need to fix the back plate at all, but it makes it easier to handle and easier to string the thing up if the back plate's actually fixed. So I fixed the back plate. Give it a little dressing down with the file. This will actually fix onto a head or the body of an instrument. There needs to be a retaining device for the other end of the strings, and I'll show you that next. But that's it. In terms of cost, these things were about 38p, something like that. This, I happen to have one lying around because I'm forever pulling things to pieces, and so I could saw it up and it didn't cost me anything. Literally, I found the television. But you can buy them from Radio Shack, Maplin's. They're about 2 or 3 quid. So on the whole, this should cost you about, at most, £5. It took me, including filming it, 2 hours to make it. So hopefully you'll enjoy making it yourself. Thank you very much.